what's up with it? I'm gonna do this video while I'm headed to work because I stay pretty busy, so hey, just deal with it, all right? But I'm gonna talk to you about Black Panther Mini Draco. This is, I want to say it's in my top 5. I have not ranked the guns that I own, but it's one of my first loves, and mainly because I had to deal with a lot of modification and brainstorming on how to get this daggum thing to be what I imagine it could be. So if you don't know what I'm talking about the Century Arms Mini Draco. And of course it didn't start off like this. And I also know what some of y'all are thinking is like, how he's driving, he got a gun, he's driving. Let me tell you, I got 5% tint all the way around, and I got 35% on the windshield. It is pretty much pitch dark in here. But the Mini Draco from Century Arms, let me tell you, I first bought this off of Gunbroker in 2020. I want to say mid 2020, and I know I didn't pay over $800 for it. I think it was $699. Walking out the door, it's probably $700 something. That's with shipping and with the FFL. And I got it, and it was just the GAT with the Midwest Industries quad rail. That's this rail that you see on here. It's got everything on it right now, so you can't see the rail, but the rail has 4 Picatinny slots on it, and I'm using all of them. But it did not come with a brace. It was a real deal pistol, the kind that you see in the rap videos, or those those movies where that's always the guy that's shooting crazy, not hitting anything, and getting taken out by a guy with an AR M4 or something like that. Now, I didn't want that to be the stereotype of my gun, that it looks scary, but it don't have the accuracy to actually be useful. So one of the things that I wanted to make sure is that I could get this to be braced. I could get this to actually do follow-up shots without having this gun rising all up over the place. And I did some research on what's available, and before I even, I'm assuming, because I know I have the video, but before I even shot it, I went to SB Tactical and got that fork. It's like a fork tube. The way the fork tube works is it's this piece here, and you take off the hand, you take off the grip, which this grip has been replaced with a Magpul AK grip. But you take the grip off and you slide the fork in, and then you put the grip back on. And then you have this tube here. This tube is wrapped with goon tape. And then SB Tactical will sell you the end plate, the end piece, to brace up on your shoulder if you want to. Not necessarily supposed to be that way, but that's how I do it. You're supposed to put it on your forearm, but my forearm is too daggone big. This strap I got from Zahal.com, and they're out of Israel. They got a lot of good stuff for AKs, but if you order from them, it's going to take a while because they are in Israel, so it's coming across country. It's going to deliver like DHL. Oh, and while I got it holding like this GAT is is clean. It's clear. I do got a mag from Splat Mags, since this is the Black Panther Mini Draco. I got King T'Challa, RP Chadwick Boseman, got up on the magazine. And this one, yeah, this one does have rounds in it. So from this point forward, I'm gonna have this black magazine, which is empty. So just so you boys understand what's happening. All right. So I installed that, put that in there, and one other thing that you got to realize is with that end piece, it's not going to actually stay put. It's going to twist. So what I did was I drilled and then screwed in a bolt, so it's not going anywhere. It's going to stay. All right, so when I first went to go shoot this thing, it came with a bird cage flash hider on here. Now what I got on here is the LAF from JMac, but it came with a bird cage and it was spot welded on, and I thought that was weird. I didn't understand it, but I'm like, okay, whoever had this before me felt that was the best thing to do. First time I'm shooting it, I got video of it, I'm gonna try to find it. It shot straight off, and I didn't know it until I took the gat home, and I noticed that you can see these naked threads. It looked very sketchy. I didn't understand why this thread was this way, but at that point I knew that I needed to find something else in order for this gun to work efficiently, and that's when I went to JMac. So with the JMac, ordered the LAF, and I also ordered the CMC trigger, this flat trigger. Now, AKs don't have a good reputation of having trigger pulls under 5 pounds. It's usually, well, I take that back. Usually the trigger pulls about 4.6 pounds, but it's really gushy. I mean, you're gonna pull and pull and pull, and then you might not even hit a wall. Then it just breaks, just pow. So you don't really get those fast, crisp shots. I didn't want that, not for this. So I went to see him. I researched the best triggers out there. CMC came up. CMC is out of Texas, so I already like that. And they advertised that it's a 2.3, 2.5 trigger. And this is the first generation trigger, not the new one that they got. But I bought that, and I tried to install it myself. I had a hard time. It was pissing me off. I was cutting up my hands. I ended up trying to drill a bigger hole in the pins to try to get the pin to align correctly. I couldn't do it, so I took it to Central Texas Gun Works, and they put it in for me, $70. And now this is the trigger pull. Check this out. So right there, here's the reset, and then again. Oh, it's amazing. It is nasty. It's something to be. It's something that you got to do when you meet me. This is one of the guns I'm gonna have you shoot. All right. I also have inside a spring buffer, but before all of that, let's go back to the top, and that's with the muzzle device. So I get the muzzle device, and there's some threads left on there where I'm able to screw it on. So I try to screw it on. It fits a little loose, but I'm thinking, well, it's screwed on, maybe I can shoot it. So go to the range, shoot it, come straight off. And we call it cold range. The boys out there go and get it for me. And now I'm thinking, well, what are my options? So of course I'm calling around places and asking, can you do work on AKs? A lot of folks here in Austin are saying, nah, we don't work on AKs. My buddy was telling me I could buy a barrel, cut the barrel, and reinstall that, but man, you need the tools that you need for that I don't have. And I don't have the tools to weld. And at that point I'm thinking, well, do I want to weld? So for a while the gun kind of just sat there. And then my homie on IG, Howard, told me to go to Georgetown, which is a whole hour away from where I live in South Austin, but go to Georgetown up north and holler at Cal at Guns Plus. He does good work when it comes to gunsmithing. So I hit him up. They said Kyle will be in on this day. I'll go up there on that day. I tell him what's happening, what the deal is. He takes a look and he says, well, there's enough thread left where he could possibly get the gun to screw on, and then he could put a pin in it and get the pin to sit. So he's gonna.
So we recessed it down into the threads just like a pin and weld, but I tapped it since this didn't have to be pinned to be 16 inches. Now it's removable. So we've got the threads cleaned up down at the bottom, so we're nice and straight, buzzed and trued up the back of this so it clocks properly right against the back, and yeah, you're good to go, man. All right, the little edges here, so hopefully that's not going to catch on you anymore. Kind of rolled that little lip in there, so it should funnel it in real nice. All right, let's see.
Rocket on its ass in a tossing, turning drone ship in the middle of the ocean. Everything about that is freaking sci-fi awesomeness. It's just so cool, but it's not sci-fi. I just,
it's men and women over there. They're, hats off to some of
So before, if I did that as a stick,
I would love to go to Cape Canaveral.
Oh yeah.
all right.
Take it to range, same thing, shoots it straight off. And I'm just like, this is getting depressing, but I'm not giving up because I really like this gat. So I take it back to him and I said, look, hey, do what you gotta do. If you gotta weld it, weld it. He's like, fuck it, I'm gonna weld it. And he welds it. Does a great job. Ever since he welded it, this gun has not had that problem, and it shot great, shot perfect. No, nothing's loose, nothing is looking like it wants to come off. I mean, I just needs a good cleaning, but it works just like the way I want it. As far as everything else that you see on here, this is the Cobra grip from Strike Industries. I like this grip. I do have this remind myself to not put my finger right here when I'm holding it. Not that it's a problem, but I don't want to hold it right there. It's just not where I want to hold it. I want to have my whole hand around here for a good hold. And I have Fiace, if I'm pronouncing it correctly. I have this Fiace light with the Fiace touch pressure switch pad, and I've had this light on this gun almost ever since I've had the gun. And out of all the rounds I've put through this gun, I have not had a problem with this light. This light is working. This light does exactly what it's supposed to do. Lights up the room, lights up the darkness outside. I've taken it to a night shoot, and it does exactly what you want it to do. See the target, blast the target. You know what I'm saying? And also, I have a Hollow Sun. What is it? It's the 510C on here. I've had it like this in this position for a long time. I started off with a Hollow Sun red dot, but I've moved that to my other AK that's from Romania. I got a SAR 1. I moved that to that one and put this one on here, and it's worked great, worked perfect the way that it's supposed to. And the blast that the LAF does, it's a lot of fire. It's a lot of power coming out on the tip of this thing, yet nothing on here has been affected. The light works, the hollow sun works, the red dot works. It does great. I've taken it to competition, had fun. I've done the night shoot, loved it out there. Originally this was going to be my truck gun, but the problem with short barreled AKs like this, you're going to go deaf if you don't have on any protection. If you don't have on Air Pro and you're shooting this in an enclosed environment, such as inside a truck or inside a house, you're going deaf. And I hate it that way, but that's just really the nature of 762 out of a 4-inch barrel. But it is so fun. It is so fun. I mean, if I could have this as a truck gun, you know what I'm saying? You could just, like, I can clear my steering wheel so good. So, yeah. The Black Panther build, man, it is a beautiful gun. It's in my top 5. It's not in my top 3. I mean, I say that, and I'm trying to think of what is in my top 3. I know one that's in my top 3, and I will do a video about that later. But if we ever get to go shooting together, I will bring this out, because this, if you could shoot an AK, especially one that is a import, this is from Romania, you will understand everything there is to understand about AK by shooting a short barreled AK. And I hope to see you soon. So with all that being said, one other thing. So yeah, I did add the buffer spring in here. Kyle recommended it to help with the charging handle would actually get stuck in the rear position sometimes. I thought it was just because the gun might have been dry, but it's really that so much force coming in would just send that charging handle back so far that it will get stuck. So he added this buffer on there. I can't remember the name of the brand that does the buffer, but he added the buffer on there. Never had a problem since with that. But this is definitely one of the builds that I am most proud of, because it just I went through a lot with trying to get it to actually work, and it no longer sits in the safe waiting for my attention. I have some guns in there that I've only shot like once or twice and ain't shot again, because they need some work done, or they just need a lot of practice, or sometimes they just need better ammo. And I'm not an ammo snob. I'm more of, if I can get it in bulk, and if I can get it for cheap, then I'm gonna do it. That's another reason why I like 762x39. It's cheap and you can get it pretty fast. But I have some 762x39s that only want that brass, and man, gotta chill out on all that. But look, with all that being said, you can't do none of this fun shit if you're messing around with felonies. So at all times, avoid the felony, and I'm gonna get back with you later. Yeah.